Good morning. So today is Thursday, May 28th, I think. Thursday, May 28th. Yes, it is May 28th. And I just arrived in Portland, Oregon yesterday. And first of all, can we just talk about how bright it is in here? I fumbled with the few different lights to get it to that comfy, cozy. I don't like light, like a lot of zzz. This is as good as I could get it. But man, it feels like a lot of light. So I apologize if you are also light sensitive like me. So anyway, I arrived in Portland and the check-in, this is a tiny home. Look. Oh, that's it. Tiny, 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 tiny. Bathroom, kitchen, bed, and a little nook here. There's a little shelf basically for a little desk area with a couple chairs. I stayed here a year ago. I'm here in Portland for some continuing education for my business, my massage therapy practice, and it's called Touch Skills Training for Trauma Therapists, and it's the third module in a 3-part series. I had some stuff last year that I had to do, and I couldn't attend the third module last year, so I waited a year, and I'm back. And I thought, ooh, let's see if the tiny home is available, and it was, but not the same unit. This property is so cool. It's got like the house, and then there are 3 tiny homes, just so tiny, on their property, all crammed into their backyard. You would think it wouldn't be possible, but the way they've created a little path and made each one situated so you're not just like looking at each other when you walk out the door. They're kind of, and so the other one wasn't available. So this is a new tiny home for me on the same lot. And so I get to walk about a mile each way to my training. And I don't need a car. There's an awesome grocery store. Portland's amazing, y'all. I'm sure some of you know that. So I just love it here so much. So yesterday I arrived so early, and even the flight, everything was so smooth. I was so grateful for that. The pilot said, "Oh, folks, we arrived 45 minutes early," and everyone was like, "Yay!" And I'm like, oh shit, now I have even more time to kill before my check-in time at 4 p.m. And we arrived like at 11 a.m. So that's like, well, let me just, actually I text more like this. And so I checked in with the tiny home people, and they're like, well, let's see if it's done being cleaned, and then I'll let you know if you can check in early. I'm like, thank you. Came right back and said, you're good to go. And I'm like, oh, hallelujah. And I guess this is story time. And then I had already planned, because I have no like transportation while I'm here. And guys, I take Lyft. I don't like Uber, but I like Lyft, and everything is so expensive. So I'm trying to limit my transportation to and fro other than just walking. So I was like, well, this particular, my husband and I got back into roller skating, and he went out and bought skates right away. And I was like, yay, I'm so glad he loves it. Now I have somebody to go with if we're really gonna like make this part of our lives. And I grew up skating, but he didn't. And that's why I was surprised he loved it so much. And so I'm like, well, he tried a couple trials, like buying skates online, having to return them, and I would try on his just to get a feel for the different brands these days. And like my old school skates from the 80s and 90s were Rydell's, like old school. I even looked on eBay, but those are ridiculous priced. And I'm like, well, and I couldn't find exactly the right size and blah blah blah. So I thought, well, I'll mount in Portland, a bigger city with more options. Let's see if they have a skate shop. And it was more like this. And they did. And I'm like, oh, cool. They open at noon, and they're only open certain days and certain hours. And it just so happens on the day I arrive, I have some free time, because I won't have free time the rest of the time I'm here because of the training. I will just take the lift from the airport to the skate shop, check out some skates, try them on, and then make my way to the VRBO, the tiny home, and then and be done. You know, then I get some to try them on instead of like trying stuff online, having to return them. It's a whole thing. So, and with what research I did with skates, there's a lot of like the fit is everything with the boot. So I went there and I like, again, arriving 45 minutes early, I'm like, oh man, now the skate shop isn't even open yet. So it's like, well, what do I do? I got a lift anyway, and I said, maybe by the time we get there, I'll only have to sit outside the skate shop like 15 minutes and then it'll open. So I get there in the lift. I have my giant freaking luggage. I'm an overpacker, but still, I pared it down. But still, it's the one giant bag plus my purse bag. And I'm like waiting there, like sitting on my luggage. And then this guy comes in to open the shop. And he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, good. Just, you know, excited to be here. His first time. And he's like, oh, come on in. Even though it was early. I'm like, oh, are you sure? He's like, yeah, come on in. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not moving in. Because I had my luggage. He's like, oh, well, that's okay. I wasn't worried. And he was so cool. He spent the next hour and a half with me trying on. He measured my feet. I was like in there. He didn't even like have to open his shop. He owns the place. He just came in, whipped out his foot measuring thing, and we got started. It's like, this day was so smooth. No like waiting around. I was only waiting outside the shop for like 5 minutes, maybe. And then like he had brought out 2 boots, a big toe box, a smaller toe box, and the big one was the one that fit, because he's like, you got some wide feet. And I'm like, I know, man. And then so like it was done, and then I just picked out like the wheels and things, and and I'm like, do you mind, because he wasn't busy, I was like, do you mind showing me how to swap out wheels, like how to take care of things, how to make adjustments? He's like, oh yeah. So like we spent an hour and a half in there picking out skates that feel so good. And he heat molded them to my feet, because this particular boot, you could put heat in it and then you wear them and then they mold your feet. And they're like a hug. He said it should feel like a hug, and it did. And then got everything situated and called my lift and came to the tiny home hours early. So, and I was tired. It was a long day of travel and I'm 2 hours ahead. So I like rested a minute, walked to the grocery store about a mile away. Just like this the day was so beautiful, y'all. Like walking through these cute little Portland neighborhoods. I'm like, Matt would love this so much. Like, I know if he came out here, he'd be like, we're moving. That's it. We'll make it happen. We'll figure it out. Like, it's totally his vibe. Like, I walked by this farmer's market. I walked through it just on the side street in a little neighborhood. It said every Wednesday. And I'm like, oh, how lucky am I that I arrived on a Wednesday with time to spare. And like, oh, the local honey, the local vegetables, all the things. And then got to the grocery store, took my time going up and down every aisle, because man, there's stores out here, you could drop a dime. And I tried not to, but I just got the bare essential because I'm on foot and I brought my bags. So I like strapped one bag on my back and like on my arm, and I walked back. So it was just a beautiful day. And then I conked out early. By the time I laid down, I like had some food. Finally, I didn't eat all day. I finally laid down. I was out. And then I woke up so early. Like I'm on Central Time. So thanks for listening. God, we're 10 minutes in. I'm so sorry. I hope you fast forwarded. And this place came with a Keurig. So they already had coffee ready to go. Thankfully, because I didn't want to deal with all that. Do you want to know what else I was grateful for yesterday? Just like so much. But you know how like if you watched the previous videos, there's some stuff just falling away. There's just this new layers of, or new depths of ease and lightness have just been like, I just can't explain it other than just the worries of the world just keep falling away. And it's not the worries of the world, it's the worries of the world that I make inside my head. I'm sure you can relate, right? We all have that worry mechanism, and I would never have called it worry before, but it's the thing that's always like tracking and locking things in place and making sure there's like safety, even though I wouldn't have called it that either. But underneath it all, it's like me in the world, where like always triangulating. All of that keeps just like whoosh, whoosh. And so I really love that. This, whatever this phase of life is, you know, there's no expectation that it'll continue to be this way. Oh yeah, we're going to do a reading if I ever get to it. And so what I was grateful for, I go to the airport yesterday. By the way, I don't know what's happening here. I wore a hat all day, and then this is my bed head, and I fell asleep in my shirt. So, whatever. By the way, this shirt, I bought it in Costa Rica the last time I was there last year. Yeah, last year. Last summer. And I'm like, oh, Matt would love this shirt. I'm going to get it for him. I bring it home, and it's a size too small. And then I'm like, well, I like it. I'll wear it. And so I'm like, thanks for letting me buy a shirt for myself. And then I washed it, and it got even smaller, and it fit even better. So I was like, yay. So sorry, Matt. I'll try to get a better one next time. So anyway, I was at the airport, and I saw this book. I posted it on my Instagram already, but I saw this book, and I just started giggling. Like, it made me so happy. Even just the cover, the colors, the title, the illustration, everything just lit me up and made me so happy. I'm like, I don't care what this is about. I don't care if it's a kid's book. I'm getting it. And then I read the back cover and a little bit on the inside, and I'm like, oh, I'm totally getting it. Brace yourselves. It's a new release this month. I know it's backwards. Bromantasy. And look at the characters. His name's Juniper and his name's Mo. And they're best friends. And, spoiler alert, it's developing into something more than just friends. And they're in this world of like humans and the Bragain and all different species of people. And then, of course, there are dragons, of course. I am already this far in. Look, it even says bro. I can't tell y'all, just everything in life tickles me. And so, like I said, it's in my Instagram. I was like, I think it's the first time I've ever, like, giggled my way all the way up to the cash register. Like, it's just like, oh my God. And it is not letting me down. That story, the writer, I've never heard of her, but I haven't read a lot of fiction in a while because I've been all up in here reading nonfiction and self-help and spiritual and education, really. I've done a lot of continuing ed reading. So I'm like, I want to get back into fiction. I had thought that already this year, and then this falls in my face, and I'm like, yes. So I'm kicking off my new era of fiction with Bromantasy. Oh my God, did you read this? 2 heroes, 1 brain cell. But they're not dumb. I don't know why that title, or that subtitle, but it was funny. So anyway, thanks for being here for story time. What I really had the intention of doing is, first of all, I gotta check. I don't even know what time it is. I gotta make sure I don't go too crazy. Hold on. Oh, okay. We have time. I was setting the intention of like, when I do, like what's, if you watch the previous videos, I've been kind of wondering, like, with space opening up, space up here, like, it's so spacious. It's like air. I'm truly an airhead now. With all this space opening up, it's just what it feels like. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like finally getting out of my own way is kind of what it feels like. And it's like, well, what's going to emerge when I get out of my own way? Do you ever wonder that? have you felt, like I said before, like you've had one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake your whole life? Like, which just to me is another way to say, I feel like I've been in my own way. You know, overthinking, overanalyzing. And a lot of times, I wouldn't have put it that way either. Like, even though people have always told me, gosh, you think a lot. You think a lot. You think too much. They never said you're overthinking. So that's why I never related the two that way. But like I've always been told, and I thought, well, yeah, I just say the thoughts in my head. I must have a lot of thoughts. You know, I'm curious about a lot of things. And so, and I just like noodling on things. Like, oh, what if? What if? Oh, that's cool. I wonder how that came about. Oh, that's just how my brain has always been. And people always made me feel like it's a problem by saying, you think too much. And then I was always like, but I like it in here. It's fun. And maybe you don't think enough. Which I never really said to people, and I never really even thought that. But then in retrospect, I was like, there must be a wide range of thinking and not thinking, you know, like, and now that I find myself in times of trouble, now that I find myself in times of spaciousness and where thought is dropping away more and more, where I'm just like sitting here like, and I would have to assume some sub layer of thought is happening because like I'm alive, you know, like there's just being aware of things, being conscious of things without the narrative. And that's like my form of thinking. I always felt like there's a narrative, like Morgan Freeman, just the background of my life, just like, and then she looked at that tree and wondered, how deep do the roots go? How does it go up so high in the air without falling over? How far do the roots extend out? Is it touching that tree over there, that root? And are they holding root hands? And like, then where are all of the mushrooms and the mycelium network? How is that all interacting under there? I can't even see it. Like, it's just like, that wasn't Morgan Freeman's voice, but if he was narrating it, it would kind of be like that. And now I feel like there's just a looking at the tree and just being in awe. And like, I think all that's still happening because I'm just mesmerized by the trees. So whatever, do with that what you will. Okay, 17 minutes in, let's do a reading. The reason I talked about all that is because I was starting to say, I have been wondering what's going to open up in the spaciousness. And what I felt, first of all, two things. One, I'm like, my lifelong passion for poetry has been that flame that never dies in me for poetry, has never died. That's why I trust it as like, you were put here on earth to explore this, you know, that sort of feeling has been rekindled into a bigger flame. So that's happening. Like, it's almost like the thoughts that come up now are like, oh, capture that line for a poem later, you know, that sort of thing. And the other thing, oh shit, hold on. Okay, what had happened was I bumped my coffee, it spilled, and because this is a tiny home and there's literally nowhere to hang any clothing, my luggage is right below where my coffee spilled. And I got coffee on my clean clothes that I'm supposed to wear this week. But luckily it wasn't too much. And I just rushed and like soaked the clothing. Like I washed as best I could in the sink in the bathroom and got, I think, most of it out. But it's going to be a coffee splatter kind of attire this week. So I think what I was saying was I set like in this space that opened. First of all, this is something that is also, I've kind of always had this, but now it's even a more dropping away of like when shit like that happens, I just laugh. It's like no stress. And like, even though I'm still going to wear my coffee stained clothes, I feel less self-conscious these days where I'll just be like, oh yeah, that happened. Huh. You know, so that's another thing. And I guess I just like to describe this. So it kind of feels like a remembrance of like, hey, like bookmarks, like, hey, it's kind of cool to just remember that this process that you can't predict, it had sort of a flow to it in some way, an unfolding, so that I can remember when people ask, because I talk to people about this stuff and their journeys, you know, through their mapless journey, and it kind of helps to relate. It's like, yeah, it kind of feels like this, you know, so that's why I like to talk about it. So anyway, the other thing that opened up besides the poetry is the tarot readings. I'm like, well, what is it? Because every person who reads tarot has their own way with it, has their own style, vibe, intentions, what they bring to it. Because to me, it feels like a channeling. So the clearer I can make my channel, you know, getting out of my own way, the better whatever's meant to come through will come through. And so then I'm like, well, what's meant to come through? You know, I feel like it's a co-creation with this universe, consciousness, the quantum field, like whatever you want to call this stuff, that we just have all these different words because we honestly, nobody knows. We all talk like we know at different levels. Nobody knows fucking squat. You know what I mean? Just let's be honest. And so even scientists are now coming out, and the ones that are the most honest are saying, no one knows what consciousness is. It's like science has like a way of making a baseline assumption and then building everything out of that baseline assumption. That's what science is. When you keep going down, every scientist is like operating from some baseline assumption, right? They admit that. And then I was like, oh, that's how that works. Because I was like, what are they operating from? They're making some assumption, but they're not telling me what their assumption is, right? And then they said, yeah, that's what happens. Everybody's just operating from some baseline assumption, and then everything builds from that. It's kind of like what we talked about with questioning our most subtle, hidden, blind assumptions. They're blind to us because it's the water we swim in, right? So it's like, and then we build our whole life view out of that. So with that, I'm like, well, nobody knows. So I'm like, with everything falling out of the way, getting out of my own way, the self-consciousness, whatever you want to call that, that just says me apart from the world, that reflective mechanism, like the ping pong, is like, it's like a game of Pong. And then part of me, this controller, this, you know, platform in Pong where they're both going player one, player two, whatever. My player just finally just feels like it. And then the ball just goes boing into infinity. You know, that's kind of what it feels like right now anyway. Who knows what's coming? So with that, I'm like, okay, I'm out getting out of my own way. What wants to emerge? What's my natural inclination? And that's why with poetry, I got back to that. What are my natural inclinations without questioning or second guessing or doubting or judging or criticizing my natural inclinations? Like, what are your natural inclinations? What are you just naturally inclined to do, to say, to think? What comes most naturally? And that's what I think people call authenticity. And so I look around at other people, I'm like, oh yes, they are being so them, you know? And it's like, well, with tarot, I think what's right now, today, I was like, you know, my natural inclination is to like set an intention and then see what message can come through that filter, that lens, you know, whatever that channel is, because a channel is kind of like a filter. Like, you're a filter for whatever you channel into the world. I'm a filter for whatever I channel into the world through my natural inclinations. And so I was thinking, and it kind of goes back maybe to this, like this just love, just so much love without just joy, love and joy and unconditional. It's just the unconditioned. So what might come through today in the cards, in the message, when we have that filter of unconditional love and joy, like what message might we need to hear, right? Through that lens, through that filter. So thank you for being here 25 minutes in. We'll keep this short. The world, right out of the gate. Challenged by the Emperor. Of course he is. Of course he's in the challenge position. And what's on the bottom for the overall energy? Oh, Ace of Pentacles. So before we go further, let's just, because we might not. This might be the full message. Oh, my alarm's going off. See, I woke up too early. The Ace of Pentacles is, it's like a freshness. And I feel like that is the word. I was noodling on that yesterday on my flight. It just feels like there's a freshness here. There's just like seeing the world fresh, but it's not the seeing through the mind. This is like a real felt sense. It's pentacle grounded earth energy. So it's like feeling fresh in the world, in the body. We are in a body, and there's something calling us into less rigidity and more softness, more vulnerability and tenderness. And I said that with like last year, with the message that came through for this year, is like really like embodying that tenderness, that just like without becoming, without, that label of being weak. And, that's just slap that away. That's a whatever. So this is about really like being soft with each other, feeling soft in the world, walking softly on the earth. Oh my God, it's springtime, right? It is, right? Yeah, it's still spring. I heard the best quote from an author yesterday, and it was, she was talking about how in some native cultures, like the way they communicate in their rituals, traditions, the way they act in the world. There's this, I forget all the details, so you'll have to Google it yourselves, because I won't. There's a tribe somewhere in the world that talks about, like, with kids, if it's springtime and kids are being rambunctious and like jumping and wrestling, and if they're just being rambunctious kids, the elders in the tribe will remind them. It's just a common thing, like an everyday thing, like any conditioning of kids. The elders will come in and say, like, to settle them, to calm them, to remind them that, oh, be careful, the earth is pregnant right now. And I'm like, oh my God, I just got chills. Like, in springtime, of course it's pregnant. Things are about to be birthed through the soil, right? And so it's like, walk softly on the earth. When we step into springtime, the earth is pregnant. Oh, I just want to cry. I might. It's another thing. The emotions are just here and they flow and they're done and we move on. And, I don't try to stop them. So it's like, yesterday in the airport, I was walking. I'm just, to embody that vulnerability is like, let's walk softly on the earth right now. There's a freshness coming. I'm going to cry. So yesterday, if you watched a video where I talked about my father going through his health, his journey, he's in hospice, and it continues to go toward, that trajectory. So I'm walking through the airport. He wasn't quite on my mind at that moment. Like, of course he's on my mind all the time lately, but not at that moment. And I was walking through O'Hare. God, O'Hare, we won't even get onto that topic, but walking through O'Hare. And all of a sudden, a whiff of cologne hits me. And I just wept. I was like, why am I crying? Oh, yeah. Like, the emotion came, I'm crying now. The emotion came before the realization, even. It's like totally backwards now. So the whiff, the tears, and then I was like, oh, I'm crying. Why am I crying? And I was like, oh, that's what my dad smells like. So, anyway, and then I just burst out into this like joy of like being able to feel that. So, anyway, this is happening. But it's like it just feels so fresh and like here. I wouldn't even say raw, but you might use that word because raw kind of has this unprotected quality to it. But some people place a negative, like weak connotation on that because it's unprotected. And I'm saying that because the freaking emperor's here. He's all about armoring up and protection. This is about feeling so fresh, so walking softly on the earth, letting our vulnerability be expressed because it's real and it's true and it's the stuff of like organs and flesh, right? We're like vulnerable, like stick me here, it'll bleed. So nothing else to say about that. Hope you feel it. The world in the upright, the heart of our reading is like something has come to a cycle is being completed. We could, the cycle that's being completed is this. He gone. So wherever you have felt like this dude, first of all, that masculine energy, if you want to magnify it into that divine masculine energy, where that means like how we act in the world is like through logic, through trying to see things so clearly and having one point of view where it doesn't allow anything else in. And that a single-mindedness can be very helpful in life. It's a tool to wield. It's not an ethos to embody, right? It's a tool. So what's dropping away is like, yeah, keep the tool in your pouch. We need to be single-minded sometimes and get shit done in the world. But it's like, don't armor up and make it your throne to sit upon. It's not your perspective to have in the world. That cycle is whoosh, done. Well, I have a feeling this is the site that the aces are like the fresh start, the beginning of something. It's the very beginning. It's like coming on the wisps of a cloud being handed to us saying, here, it's yours for the taking. Pick it up. Move forward. Okay. So oh man, what a day this is going to be. Holy shit. So let's see where we go from here. We have the Seven of Wands. We'll get a few cards. The Lovers. Of course the Lovers is here, y'all. Unconditional love and like bare truth. And the Ten of Swords. Oh my God. So with this, like the Seven of Wands is here to say like this. If we think about a trajectory, it feels like this, us against the world, right? Look at all these wands coming at this person and he's like, no. These guys sometimes go hand in hand, like armoring up against the world, keeping the world out, trying to hold on to that me versus you. Like, and sometimes this is, again, this is a tool to wield this. Sometimes this feels like, block out the outside noise. We're going inward, right? Right now, this could feel like, block out the noise of like the judgment. I feel like there's that reflective thing where you're like, I know what you're thinking about me, and I'm thinking this about you, and like, boom, 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 boom. It's the Pong game of like, so it's like, it could be like, block out everything that isn't love, right? It could still be a useful tool right now. It could also be, drop the armoring, drop all those wands. There's no one coming at you. There's no reason to build a defense. In the Course of Miracles, they talk about attack thoughts. And like, sometimes we armor up by like, we know what they're going to say. So I'm going to come up with a pre-attack thought, a defense thought that is actually an attack thought, a pre-attack, attack, right? The building up of defenses is actually a form of attack. It's like we're preemptively attacking by armoring up. So then the Lovers, oh my God, right here again at the heart of our trajectory is like, see how like they're naked, they're bare, they're in their vulnerable truth. Like, we are just pure, like, organic expression. So it's like, there's like, they are bare, there's no armor. Like, become fresh in the world. Like, it's kind of, it's supposed to depict, I think, like an Adam and Eve vibe here. Like, this is before we bit the apple and of knowledge, is that right? From the tree of knowledge, all the mind stuff came in and created separation, right? This is like, maybe it's before that. Maybe it's that cycle being completed, and now we're back just in our truthiness. I still love that word. You know, under the divine, under the whatever this mystery of, you might call it God, the universe, consciousness, awareness, the quantum field, whatever you resonate with, is here to hold us and to say, you're safe. There's no need for armor. Be your authentic true self in the world. There's no room for anything else. That old cycle is completed. And honestly, what's the worst that can come? That you step into your power, you step into your truth. You are unapologetically you, right? And there's no need to apologize when you're not building a defense, when you're not pre-attacking people, right? There's no reason to, you can be unapologetic. And then we have the end. This is another call out to that end of this cycle. The end of the cycle is of the mind. These are swords, air, mind energy. It's also all that weird communication stuff like I was talking about, like attack thoughts. The attack is done. We're putting that to rest. The blessing, the mark of the blessing here with the hand, is saying like, oh, I learned a lot through that. I learned a lot, and I'm grateful for everything I went through, because it makes the dawning of the new day so much brighter, so much more of a relief. I live to see another day. So that's the trajectory we're on. Is like, what are we, let's take it down a little further just to see if there's any more nuance here. I mean, we could have stopped right at the beginning. It was so beautiful. Let's go. We have the Three of Cups. And death. Oh my God. I've never been so excited to see death. So when I wish I could show you. Maybe I can. I'm afraid it'll stop the video though. So when I have these two coming down from the wands, the lovers, the swords, we have the Three of Cups here. This is coming down from the lovers and the Seven of Wands. So it's like, take down the defenses and come back together. This is called togetherness and celebration, and it's heart energy, cups. It's all just like, there's nothing left but togetherness and celebration. And it's like there's something about being with each other. We have the lovers here. We have the Three of Cups. These are two of the biggest, like, just like unconditional love energy. What happens when we get out of our own way? Back on that theme, we come together with other people without the self-conscious, like, oh, I'm nervous about entering into community with other people because it's like everybody, you might feel like they're judging or like you are self-conscious. Like that's gone. Death is here to say, again, end of a chapter, end of a cycle. There's a transfer. This is deep, deep transformation energy. So that's coming down from the Lovers and all the 10 of Swords, which is just like that cycle ended. It's ending. Where can you put it to rest in your life? Where can you feel into how that's transforming within you? You know, for some reason, this is coming up. So I'm going to say it. Sometimes to get practical with things, I love getting practical with tarot because there's so much woo-woo out there that's not grounded in like, well, yeah, that feeds my word addiction. It feeds my addiction to like feel good vibes, and then it dissipates and it's gone, and I'm left in a real body in the real world. So give me some tools. Well, one thing that came to me was like that I think helped was like, what is one, because we're talking about transformation and like really getting practical with how did this transformation express itself from getting out of my own way and coming, because I want to be in communion with other people, you know, as my authentic self. My next alarm went off. And it's like, somebody said this once, and it was like, what is one thing you can start doing today to make your life better? Not 100 things, right? One thing. What is one simple thing you could do today to make your life better? And don't turn it into oh, now I got to do it every day. Just think about today, right now. What is one thing you can do to make your life better? And what is one thing you can stop doing today to make your life better? Don't worry about tomorrow. You may still do it tomorrow. Don't beat yourself up. What is one thing you can stop doing today to make your life? And that might be more important, right? I think we do too much. I'm looking at you. Okay. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. The threes, togetherness, that's what this reading's about. It's about all of this, but like the crux of it, the nuance of it is about leaving the land of separation that happens here. I'm pointing at the brain. It might, like I said before, might be happening in my knee. I don't know where it comes from, but people say it comes in the brain. The mind is all the sword energy. That's all falling away. This is all about getting out, letting that fall away, because what's really here, and if I could pick up the Lovers, if I could pick up all the cards, what's really here is raw, unapologetic, so authentic togetherness. And I feel like when we express our raw, when we express what we are naturally inclined to express, we come together with the people who resonate with that energy. We are not meant for everyone, and not everyone is meant for us, but the people who are meant for each other at different points in time will congeal together in togetherness, right? Right? We're not meant to be for everyone all the time. We all evolve daily, right? We all let things fall away daily. We all add things to ourselves daily. Like those things we can do or stop doing. We get into new interests. We get out of old interests. That brings about a fresh group of people who are into those interests. You know, it's like simple stuff. And it's like something in us feel like if we take it back at an energetic level, this feeling of armoring up, this is the card of rigidity. This is the card of like, I must look at his throne. It's all stone. He's all armored up. This is a rigid. It's all wood grain back there. Solid, rigid, unmovable. Like, where's the truth in that? Like I said, we are like squishy little vulnerable organisms in this beautiful nature-y world. You know, everything's nature. But it's like we're soft, we're breathing, like everything's moving, everything is soft. Okay, I gotta go. Like I hope the vibes have been transmitted. So anyway, Thank you for being here. Thanks for sticking through story time or fast forwarding through it. I just feel like talking to y'all. Yeah, simple. Well, I think I need to go wash out some more of my laundry so I can wear it this week. Bye.